Hello, and welcome to the virtual Nordic and Baltic Oscar Contenders series presented by Scandinavia House in New York and the Scandinavian Film Festival of Los Angeles with the Baltic Film Expo at SFFLA. We are pleased to offer a virtual screening of the films chosen by the Nordic and the Baltic countries to compete for the Oscar nominations for the Best International Feature Film, available to viewers across the US on the weekends of January 7th and the 14th. Today, we are speaking with the director of the Icelandic nomination, Agnes Joy, with the director Silja Hauksdóttir, and the two lead actors, Katla Þorgeirsdóttir and Donna Cruz. A special thanks goes out to the Icelandic naturally for helping making the screening possible. And moderating today's talk is Júlia Rosicki. Júlia is a film programmer and has worked for festivals in New York, Stockholm, and Riga, and is currently based in Latvia. She most recently curated the digital edition of the New York Baltic Film Festival. So please welcome everyone.
Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for joining us. I just watched the film a few days ago and really enjoyed it. So I'm happy to get this opportunity to kind of pick your brains and talk more in depth about it. So like Kyle mentioned, we have Silja Hauksdóttir with us, who's the director of this film. She's a writer-director from Reykjavik, who's worked extensively in TV and film. And she has her first feature film, Dís, premiered in 2004, which I believe it's based on a novel that she also co-wrote. She's also she made a well-reviewed documentary, The Choir, and has written and directed several comedy series for television, which have gone on to win several Edda Awards, which are the Icelandic national awards. And then we also have Katla Þorgeirsdóttir, who plays Rannveig in the film, the mother, who graduated from the Icelandic Drama School, which is now a department under the Icelandic Academy of the Arts in 1997. She has been involved with multiple stage, film, and TV productions. And Agnes was played by Donna Cruz, and I believe this is your first role, is that right? Or first role in a feature? Oh, sorry, I believe are you muted maybe?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
Yeah, no, this is just my first role ever, I'd say. Yeah, I've been, not even, like a couple of extras, but not even. I think this is my first role.
That's amazing, because as far as I can tell, it's kind of swept the board at this year's National Icelandic Film Awards. We got Best Film, we got Actress of the Year for Katla, and Best Screenplay, and some other awards. So how does it feel to, and on top of everything, you're obviously on the, you're Iceland's nominee for the Oscar foreign language shortlist. So how do these awards feel to all of you? And maybe Donna, if you want to start, like your first kind of foray and you get all this attention.
Yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming, but mostly I'm like very honored and grateful for everything. It's not that I didn't expect the film to be successful. It's just I didn't dare to dream it being so successful, and once it's here, it's almost surreal. But I'm just trying to enjoy it.
Do you think it will mean anything for your career, or is it just kind of a nice compliment?
Definitely, I think it would mean something. It means something for me as a person overall. It helped me like realize that I'm more capable of than I like give myself credit for. So I mean, yeah, I'd say so.
Right, nice. And Silja, what about you? I mean, you've won some awards before, and you won kind of both for screenplay and for best film. And how are you taking it?
I'm grateful, a bit overwhelmed, but I'm mainly what has been the bliss in this is like it's how it was received, like locally with the audience after our journey of creating it. So it's just the feeling of I don't know, when you have a story that you feel is super important to you, and people connect to it. It somehow, it feels special. And it's, I just wanna, what I mainly take out of it is also just I mean, we see so many stories that we think I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm going to refocus. I think for the most part, the process has been realizing that the stories that feel very personal are also a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of people can relate. And that process has maybe been the most value to me, both as a woman and as an artist and as a female artist. And it's just, it's empowering in the sense that it makes me want to keep going.
And you said that audiences in Iceland received it well. How was it premiering in Iceland?
I mean, I don't know, I think probably for most filmmakers at home is that somehow the most stressed and most important somehow. It's where, you know, you wanna be cool at your own house somehow. And so it was extremely well received, and we were super grateful that, I mean, we had a huge audience that year. It was big that year, and we felt that people connected to it. So that was maybe the yeah, that was the biggest thing.
And I'm a bit unclear about the timeline, but I believe it premiered before COVID happened, but you've obviously played at festivals after. So did you get a chance to travel anywhere before lockdown, or?
Yeah, we just managed we went to Busan, was the film festival that was premiered in. So that was like maybe the biggest travel. And now, so yeah, we managed to do a bit.
Did you all go? Sorry, did you all go or just?
Yes, all three of us plus our producer, two producers.
And so, do you feel that because it's been so well kind of received at home, do you feel that it says anything about Iceland today? Like, is it kind of a snapshot, and does it like characterize the society? And especially kind of being nominated for the Oscar, you know, you're going to get a lot of like international attention. Like, do you think it says something about social conditions in Iceland?
I guess, I mean, it might be a study in how the importance of vulnerability somehow, which I think that it's something that we all are, or many of us are taking a close look at these days. And it's a study on our close relations, and we all have been quite forced to just be in our close relations these days for the last months. I mean, almost everyone has just been forced to be at home, and it can be a challenge. For many people, it's a huge relief. For others, it's a burden, and for others, it's just like it's bad. So the proximity of that is somehow what is I can see.
No, I did kind of think of that. Like, it's funny that it came up before COVID, because one of the themes was boredom to me. Kind of, you know, you like make your life and then you just kind of sleepwalk. And then I think now it's something that everyone can identify with. Like, you're locked in your home and you created this life for yourself, and now you're stuck with it. And then you have to look at like, well, do I actually like it? So in that way, you know, maybe I thought that it was kind of like maybe a reflection of a welfare state, you know, and the biggest problem they have is boredom, maybe. But I think I thought it was, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is boredom, but it's also isolation. I mean, they are not connecting. They all feel alone, but they are like this, you know, when you're lonely but surrounded with people, is maybe the worst part of being lonely, is being lonely and not alone. And that's what they're all feeling. So, so yeah, it's boring in a Scandinavian privileged sense, but also, I mean, it's isolation for lack of communication or connection.
Yeah. And it feels, you know, you could feel it throughout the film, but you can really see that you have empathy for your characters. You know, they're annoying, but really nice and kind and empathetic, but they have these flaws, and they just feel like real people. And maybe, so yeah, I've talked to you for a little bit. If I go over to Donna and Katla, if you can talk about what was it that drew you to these characters? who can at times be like excruciatingly annoying and do silly things, but then they're still lovable people.
Yeah, that is what I loved about the script. Are you asking Silja? Sorry.
No, sorry, this
No,
goes for you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, that I really immediately loved the script because it's so real and it was so easy to see the persons and feel them, and very clever, I must say. And of course, you can relate to so many things in it, our flaws and our behavior and our anxiety and what we do when we have low self-esteem and all that stuff. So for me, it was a very joyful journey, and Silja is a very giving director, and there was a lot of trust on set, a lot of trust.
Yeah, Donna, how did you stumble across this script and this character?
The same for me. The script was very well written, and just like it's just so human. Like you see all the characters in the film, and nobody is like the bad guy because we're all just humans. Like we do stuff because it's like it triggers some certain emotion, and it doesn't necessarily mean when we make mistakes that we're bad people. We're just, you know, dealing with a lot of stuff. So that's something that really fascinated me because it's like it felt so real.
Mm-hmm. And so, Silja, how did you find these actresses, or what was your process in working on these characters? And because you also co-wrote the script, did the characters change, you know, from what was in your head to when you actually had these people? Like, did you guys kind of make them together, or was it?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I do believe they changed quite a lot, but I really like my record, like what my fixed ideas about them beforehand are definitely something that was, they just exceeded my expectations, and they made them into their own. So kind of now I can't really I can't recall what I really did, you know, what I planned for them to begin with, because it's like you're pregnant with your baby and you have all these fixated ideas on what it will be, and then reality happens and it's totally messy, but all the more, even more perfect. So that was kind of the process. I mean, they added so much of their emotion and their own, I guess, empathy and layers, and truly made them their own. So it's a total co-created cocktail that they have so much, so much their own.
So Donna, you say you said you've been a background actress, or you know, you've maybe dabbled a little bit, but so how did you have this dream to become an actress? Were you discovered in a mall? Like how did you guys?
So like I have kind of a big social media platform in Iceland, just like big for Iceland. We're not such a big country, and I've done some modeling and some advertisements, but I haven't really played in any movies before. And Katla, one of the writers, contacted me through Facebook. I wasn't sure if it was legit, but I gave it a shot, and she didn't actually tell me for which role I was auditioning for, so it kind of it kind of surprised me. It was a lead role, and then I just
And so, what strikes me about, like, I think all the female characters in the film is that they're really struggling against these roles that are put on them. You know, like the teenager, the adopted kid, the old woman who's not allowed to drive, and they're like all fighting these roles. Is this something that you or both of you relate to? And do you think that it's harder in a smaller society to kind of break out of those roles?
I think it's pretty like universal. Like I think everyone is kind of put in a box, whether you like it or not. And when you realize that you don't like it, it's always like pretty hard to shake it off.
Yeah, I agree. I think this struggling, it's just in every family, and you know, we all can relate to, I think, so many things in this film.
So yeah, speaking about the small society, I'm not very familiar with Icelandic geography, but I believe that the location is yeah. Can you talk about location and what it means for Iceland?
The location, sorry.
Yeah, like why was it set in this town or?
I think what it gives us is it is truly I mean, we have a small society here, but it's a small society outside the small society somehow, this town of Agnes, but it mirrors somehow the both of the mother and the daughter's condition of having something that's very close that you want to attain and want really badly, but still you can look at it, but you can't really, it's not tangible somehow. And you are yourself, you are the biggest obstacle towards achieving it. You know, you're just on the outside looking in and being a bit passive about it. That's what for me was like having this small, I'm actually at my apartment now in Reykjavik, and I am looking exactly the opposite way, which is from Reykjavik to Akranes. I want to show you if I can.
Yeah, because it's like it's on the bay, or
yeah, it's. Can you see lights over there? No.
Vaguely, yes. I'll just imagine from the.
Yeah. But it's just like it's something that's very close, unattainable and attainable at the same time. But what is true about it is that both of them are their own kind of obstacles. You know what I mean?
And how do all of you feel about, I mean, there's always this dream of like Hollywood, or, you know, that like, especially in culture or in film, that there are bigger places for that art than Iceland, or like where I am in Latvia right now. But is it fine to just stay where you are, or does everyone kind of have a dream to get out?
I'm actually, for now, I'm quite fine where I am. The projects and the stories is, to me, what matters. So yeah, no, Hollywood, I almost have like a unicorn rainbow feeling when it comes to as something that's not within reach somehow. It feels unreal. I'm not saying that it is, but that's what it feels like. So.
Yeah, I agree. It feels unreal, but we are very grateful and thankful, of course. But yeah, it's an honor.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And Donna, do you have do you have your sights set? I mean, obviously it's COVID and travel is restricted, but. I
mean, of course, it's what you want. You want to become an actress and show people your talent, but at the same time, it kind of feels like, you know, unreachable. Not that I'm not saying that it is, but it kind of feels that way. And either way, I'm just very proud of this film and this project. So I'm also kind of content.
So back to the kind of the small neighborhood. What I think one of my favorite things about the film is that this neighbor actor, Hrein, who like just moved in, and he, like, the more I thought about it, I'm like, oh, he's like the opposite of the femme fatale usually, you know, where there's this woman that everyone blames for like messing up the men's lives, and here it's like the opposite. It's this like hot neighbor who like messes up their lives. Can you talk about that character and like was that trope, like that cliche, was that like in the back of your mind?
Yeah, I mean, definitely was a bit, and I'm a bit sensitive also as a feminist and as a woman to like because he truly is a vehicle for a lot of change in their lives, and I always get a bit frustrated when I see that happen a lot in films and stories. So, but for me, he truly represents movement somehow, or he's not like an igniting force, but he's not like the flame. He's just like something that ignites it somehow. So that was important for me to kind of put him in that place. And also I really wanted to actually make him. I mean, he is lovable in his own way. I mean, maybe a bit of a cliche as the bad boy, but I don't know. The bad boys I've fallen for in my life have all been a bit, it's on shades of gray.
And I wanted to talk about sexuality as well, which I think I never felt that either of your characters, Katla and Donna, had, like, you were both in control. Like, it maybe got messy or awkward, but it wasn't ever, you weren't like, what's it called? You weren't passive in what you were doing. Could you talk about how you, like, I don't know, like maybe, for example, the pole dancing, like how did you incorporate that into your character, or Katla, like how did you feel about the way your character expressed her sexuality?
Mm-hmm. I was quite worried. There were two scenes I was worried about a bit, I have to admit, and that was the sex scene and the masturbation. It was like, okay, this is, when you read the script, it was quite clear that this was going to happen. And then we worked with it. And, Rannveig, so I talk about the character now. Now I've told you how the actress felt. It all went well because Silja, she is so great. And we knew the frames. But Rannveig, she, of course, is in this marriage not feeling so well. And they're just, they've been together for a long time, and she feels like she's not being seen, He's just in his own world with his computer, and she's lonely. And then, of course, when this charming actor arrives, it's very, it really, yeah, he gets her, it grabs her how he acts, and he listens too. So she's not also seen, but he also wants to hear about her, talk to her. Mm. So yeah, I really loved it.
Mm. Yeah, Donna?
Yeah, with my character, I think Agnes, I mean, she grows up in a household where she is the good girl. She goes to school, studies something that she doesn't want to study, and plays her violin even though she lacks interest anymore. But the pole dancing is something that she keeps from her mother, and it's something that she can control. Like, in other aspects of her life, someone else is in control, but she isn't, like, she is in control, and she controls who, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's her space, and her sexuality is her power. And throughout the movie, you can see that because it's something that's hers. And I think the scene where, like, when her mom finds out why it was so chaotic is because, like, she loses control of her power.
Right.
That's why it was so upsetting for her.
So, had you ever tried pole dancing before? It always looks so difficult. I'm always in admiration of anyone who tries.
I've never actually tried, but a month before filming, I was, yeah.
That's impressive. You already do some moves.
Yeah, that stuff requires a lot of strength.
A lot of strength.
Yes, it's super hard.
And like, I didn't realize it hurts the skin so much because the skin is what's holding you up. And I didn't realize that. Like, I thought.
It never shows it on their faces. So yeah. This is the backstory. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about is immigration and adoption, which I really enjoyed that they were present in the film and people had experiences and opinions, but it wasn't like this huge problematized, like, central, drama, the driving force. Was this, like, important for you to kind of keep it out of the limelight, or, like, keep it out of the central focus?
In a sense, it's truly important for the story and their relationship that their genes is not in the way of their relationship. It's just it's a communicational obstacle that they have. So for that, yes. And also Agnes's feeling of feeling and actually being an outsider in a society that's really of the same color is a huge thing for the story, and the mother's lack of understanding. But also, I mean, yes, definitely, I wanted to be understated because there are so many other things also that are important to this relationship. But also, this is like this type of feeling outside is something that I don't have like an obvious experience of myself, being very white and you know, hetero, and you know, a lot of boring stuff. So I can really, like, it was hard for me to put it in the middle, honestly, because yeah, there are so many other people that know more and of more depth than I do.
Yeah, Donna, how did you feel that it was handled in the film, and what did you is it a conversation, like, is it a conversation in Iceland in general? Sorry, I can't hear your audio again.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, what kind of conversation? Like,
No, I meant like adoption, like cross-cultural adoption. I just know I grew up in Sweden, and I remember when people started talking about the children adopted in the 80s and 90s, and there was a different culture back then and a different kind of dialogue about it. But like, is this talked about publicly in Iceland?
I don't think it's talked quite as often as it should be, but how they handle the adoption and the immigration in the film, I really liked it, because you knew that she was adopted, but that I liked that wasn't. I mean, it mattered, but it wasn't that relevant. It was just something that was, but exactly, like her relationship with her mother and their problems, it wasn't because she was adopted. It was just because of the lack of communication and the lack of connection. And I really liked that they didn't put the emphasis on the adoption.
Mm-hmm. And so the Philippines is like this big kind of off-screen character in the film, and like this trip to the Philippines that they end up not going on, at least what we see. Can you talk about maybe how each of the characters like felt about it? Because I still don't really, I mean, there's a lot of like things hinted at, like why they don't want to go or why they do want to go, but can you talk a bit more about, and also like your conversations behind the scenes, like how did you talk about this and their like personal motivations?
Are you?
Anyone who wants to jump in first.
I think Philippines for Rannveig is Hail Mary trip for the family and a way for them to connect. I think that's what Rannveig sees it, but how Agnes sees it is just like, oh, we're just gonna go on this trip and not deal with the problems that we have within the family. This trip's not gonna solve anything, so why even go? And also, like, Agnes is kind of frustrated that her mother wants to go on this trip without even talking to her if she's ready. Like, is she ready to go back to like where she was born? Her mother just decides for her, just like with everything else.
Yeah. Katla?
I think this is such a good point because Donna, like you're mentioning, it's also so telling of their relationship, because like almost I'm gonna control your story somehow, like how you invent your sexuality, how you invent yourself, like your relationship to where you are from, your relationship towards me. I'm gonna try to control it because I'm so afraid that if I don't, what will happen? It's like this fear, which is quite telling when it comes to everything related to know where she's from, and also, I mean, and also like this fear of am I not completely maybe your mother after all? Like, am I not enough for you somehow?
Yeah, Katla, do you have anything to add, or you feel like?
No, I don't think I have anything to add. I think Silja answered it quite well, and Donna as well.
So maybe to wrap up, the final question for each of you is basically what's next? And you know, this last year has been so jarring for all of us in our careers, and you know, we can't go outside our houses sometimes. So what has this past year been for you, and what are you gonna, like, what's your next project? Or
well, I work in the theater, in the city theater, and we were supposed to have a premiere in April 2020, and we started rehearsing in March. And then, of course, things happened, and we have tried 3 times now. So now we're hoping that in April 2021, we finally can have this premiere. And it's a sketch show, it's a play. We are 5 actors writing it together. It's like comedy sketches, a play about parties, what can happen in parties and our anxiety going to a party and meeting people.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed for you that you finally get on this.
Yeah, mine is a little bit more mundane. I put school on the shelf for a couple of years, so I'm just focusing on that. Of course, I'm open to like all opportunities that come my way, and like if 2020 has taught us something, it's kind of difficult to plan ahead. So I'm just kind of trying to enjoy everything right now.
Yeah, I like that. Like, it's impossible to have plans anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, good luck with school. And Silja, next steps.
Yeah, totally agree with Donna. I mean, we can have planned, but planning is a privilege. And for now, I'm in post-production of a TV series, TV drama that I just I managed to direct in between pandemic. Somehow rises and falls in Iceland this summer. And focusing on future projects, hopefully more drama and more dark stuff to come your way.
Hopefully on the screen and not in real life. I think we've had enough.
Or we can do both. I mean,
we can do both. All right. Well, thank you. It's been really interesting talking to you all. I love the movie, and I really like what you've all done, and it's been lovely to spend some time with you guys. So. I wish you all the best in the coming year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Likewise.
Thank you.